Okay, third time lucky. This is the third time I've started this video. I got right through just now, and then all the lawnmowers started kicking off. The lawnmower, I don't know what it is today, but the lawnmowers seem to be following me. But anyway, Friday morning, up and at 'em, guys. Out here doing it, and I had one heck of a headache, migraine actually. More than a bloody headache. It's like a headache on steroids. But I ain't had a migraine like this in a while. And it started out as tension headaches, and then boom, I couldn't even lay down. Every time I tried to lay down, I felt like someone was like pounding me on the head. Oh, it was a nightmare. But anyway, Friday morning. And out here doing it. But today I wanted to talk about, what you're consuming with your mind, what you're watching, who you're hanging with. And it has a huge bearing on you and your own mind. I remember when I first came to the US 28 years ago, I was looking, I'd left everything behind, everything I knew, including, what I watched, channels I watched, everything. I knew what I was watching while I lived in London, but came here, I didn't know anything, didn't know anybody. All I knew was my wife, a couple of her friends, that was it. That's all I knew. So I started navigating. One was finding a beer. I was drinking back then. I haven't touched it in 3 years now, maybe about 3 years. I haven't touched any booze, but back then, heck yeah, I was. And I liked good beer too, and European beer as well. And trying to find one here then was a difficult situation. But anyway, so there I am trying to find something that I could relate to. And the first thing was, I used to watch the news regular when I lived in England. So trying to find a news channel and navigating through the different news channels, and I landed on one. I'm not going to say what it was. But I landed on one and started watching that. And holy cow, does that mould you? You don't realise how you're being moulded, guys. If you stick with one thing and you don't open your mind and start looking around at other options or other people's ways or other people's views, you're stuck. And what's going to happen is you're going to start getting moulded by whatever you're listening to or whoever you're hanging out with. And once I got kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, I started my journey and started realising, hang on a minute, what else is out there? So when I started looking at other news channels, I started to realise, hang on a minute, this one's saying completely the opposite of the other one. And then you go back to the other one, they're saying completely opposite to the other one. And they're both slagging each other off. Crazy. Yet there's people fixated on those channels that are not open-minded, that don't want to know any different. They want to believe what they're being told. They're just getting moved like pawns on a chessboard. And that's what happens. They'll move you to where they want you to move. If they have an agenda, it's how cults start, right? You get someone that's, I don't know, preaching something, and everybody starts following. And look at Manson, yeah? He wasn't there. He wasn't there at the crime scene. But he had enough influence to get people to do it. And he even said, hey, I wasn't there. But he wasn't. But what he did to people's minds, And of course, it's down to the individual whether they listen too. So you can get drawn in. I didn't think I was going to be that guy that could get shifted and moved. But heck yeah, you can. And watch who you're hanging out with too. Because if you're watching a certain channel and you're not open-minded, you're going to be around people that ain't open-minded either. You're going to start following because what you're hearing and where you've been moved, and they're the same, they're agreeing with you. So, hey man, I got support. Don't mean it's right, don't mean it's wrong. Just means you're not open-minded and you're not listening and taking in a broad span of information and then coming up with your own decision. You can be hanging around negative people and before long you're going to be negative. Put yourself around positive people and you'll start being positive. I'll give you an example. I used to help out a brother, a very, very, very good mate of mine, in his shop. And I used to have a phobia with the phone, believe it or not, telephone. I'd break out in a sweat and the phone would ring. Hang on a minute. What was I saying about lawnmowers? There were mowers everywhere. Anyway, but I would go down to his shop and to help him out in his shop. And I started being around these guys that would pick, phone would ring, they'd pick it up, I'd be there around them. And before long, I was starting to think, I could do that. Right? Because you're around it. You're seeing it. You're seeing people do it, which gives you the confidence to do it. So watch what you're consuming out there. Good morning. Watch what you're consuming out there. Because if you put yourself around the wrong people or around the wrong information, you're going to start thinking that way. And be careful what you're watching on TV at night. Watch something inspirational. Follow people that give you power. There's a lot of them out there. I follow a whole bunch of people and watch interviews with them and watch what they're doing, go online, check them out, read articles. I get sent things from even clients as well. Check this out. Right. It's all positive stuff. So if you're like late at night, a couple of hours before going to bed, and you're starting to consume, violence and very negative situations, you're going to bed on that, guys. You just fed your mind and then going to bed. And then what happens then is that sits there, that sits on your mind, starts working on your mind. And then you'll go to bed. And as you start to calm down and you're ready to go into that REM sleep area and that's on your mind, hey, that's going to hit home. Because as soon as you start getting down a certain level in your sleep, you start going into that hypnotic state mind, which is subconscious. And you just fed your subconscious with a bunch of bullshit. Yeah? So then you wake up in the morning wondering why you're all over the place. Don't consume shitty stuff for your mind. That's why I call myself MindNutrition. What you put in your mind is nutrition too, not just what you put in your mouth. Now, what you feed your mind, as far as bad nutrition, could come out of your mouth. As far as words, they're just, again, negative. Which, again, then you're being around and people are going to feed off of you. And it just keeps moving like that. Spreads around people. That negative buzz, that negative vibe. All because we're consuming the wrong shit. And all the while there's someone to follow that. All the while there's people out there that are like, yeah, and agreeing with the bullshit. They just keep going. And then it grows. And before you know it, you've got these cults and crazy. So watch what you're consuming, guys. It's all down to you. You can either open your mind and not live in a box, or you can live in the box and not expand. It's up to you. Namaste, guys.